pushback from us because we see the cost increase. We accept that. Yeah, Chris is really good at accepting that.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I am convening a meeting of the TMC and RMC meeting. Pat, will you now call the roll, please?
Good morning, everyone. City of Avondale, Harold Seguina.
Present.
City of Buckeye, Dan Cotterman.
Here.
City of Chandler, Jason Crampton.
Here.
City of El Mirage, Amber Wakeman. She just popped on. Town of Fountain Hills, Dave Trimble. Town of Gilbert, Mary Goodman.
Present.
City of Glendale, Kevin Phelps. City of Goodyear, Winnette Reed.
Present.
Sean Pierce, Maricopa County. City of Mesa, Chris Brady.
Here.
City of Peoria, Kevin Burke. City of Phoenix, Mario Paniagua.
Here.
Town of Queen Creek, Bruce Gardner.
Here.
City of Scottsdale, Mark Melanchenko.
Here.
City of Surprise, Tracy Montgomery.
Tracy here.
City of Tempe, Rosa Inchausti. Present. City of Tolleson, Reyes Madrano. Chair, we're ready to proceed.
Thank you. If a committee member would like to ask questions or make a comment during the meeting, please type your comment in the box and it will be read aloud and answered for those online. All meeting attendees, please mute your computer, microphone, or phone, please. So next is public comment. The public will be provided with an opportunity at this time to address the committee on non-agenda items and all action agenda items for the joint RPTA and VMR meeting agendas. Up to 3 minutes will be provided per speaker unless the chair allows more at their discretion. A total of 15 minutes for all speakers will be provided. Do we have any speaker cards, Pat?
Yes, ma'am. Blue Crowley.
Thank you.
There's also a speaker card for Dee Dee Barker, who is at the County Board of Supervisors at the moment, but is hoping to get here in time to give her statements. I've got your agenda here, and I love it. The first part of it is supposed to be for bus, right? Valley Metro. But I see how many things in here, it's money going for rail, because you've convoluted the fundings. Have that little document I've showed all the time saying, these are all the roadways that you were supposed to do that you haven't done. Do you know last year what you were supposed to do that you didn't do? Litchfield Road. How come? I get told money. Well, I was over there at the county and I said, well, a lot of it is in the county. You don't have the funds? What is it? You know, because I look in here and it says information and technology, and we're spending $9 million, right? Now, on that information, if you're calling to get customer service, it doesn't run for the whole time the system does. Why? And in that information technology, the other thing that would possibly be of a benefit to the customers is you don't print the bus book. But these are cost saving. Well, I don't need cost savings. What I need you to do is put that bus system out there and get it done right. I also need you to bifurcate the agencies. When I see in here that you've got plans for money on the rail part, and I love that the rail is this part here. Why couldn't you do it actual? You know, this is what we're spending with the rail. This is what we're spending on the bus. Because supposedly, when I asked, that back row over there is what costs 40% of your funds. How does that get me a bus? How does that get the system dealt with and done? With the upcoming election, funding for the rail is going to be what? Cut by a fifth if you just count what they're not going to get for Prop 400. If you also then consider that most of the rail money is matching funds, if you cut out that fifth, you're also cutting out another fifth from the Fed. So with 40% of the money not going to be there, and y'all know that when the document was put together and states that you aren't going to be getting any funds after December of 25. And I need about 20 more seconds, please. Thank you, Pat. That's why when I was addressing the chair. I didn't know that you're her voice.
Okay, thank you. Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Hilliard, please.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members, welcome. Jessica's traveling today, so I'll be pinch hitting for her. I have just one brief update to share on her behalf. Next slide, please. On Saturday, the 27th, we celebrated the opening of our Northwest Extension Phase 2. It was a terrific event. We had federal and regional partners, including our board members, vice mayors John Edwards and Peggy McMahon in attendance, and more than 2,000 members of our community. If you weren't able to make it, it was really neat. We had food trucks and entertainment, and there was just an awful lot of excitement in the community. So it was really a pleasure to celebrate the opening of this great project. Next slide, please. It's a project of many firsts. It's our first elevated station. It's our first rail-only bridge over an operational freeway. It is a literal gateway to high-capacity transit in the West Valley. It's a mobility hub featuring bus, light rail, and in the future BRT service that is very fittingly named after our regional transit champion and former Phoenix mayor and councilwoman Felda Williams. It also includes some engineering firsts. It incorporates steel fiber reinforced concrete in the trackway in place of traditional rebar, which, as you may know, was developed right here by our colleagues at ASU. So a very exciting innovation there. It includes work by 7 local and national artists, and was also the very first FTA-funded project under President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure bill, and was funded through the local match by Phoenix's T2050 and Prop 400 monies. So very exciting project. It was completed on budget and ahead of schedule, thanks to some terrific teamwork by Valley Metro team, by City of Phoenix, by our contractors, Jacobs and KMVJ, and more than 100 local subcontractors and 300 local workers. So congratulations to the City of Phoenix on the completion of this terrific project and on their continued investment in sustainable transportation. So, and with that, happy to answer any questions and get you back to your agenda.
Are there any questions?
Oh, pardon me, Madam Chair, I forgot. I need to review the calendar, which you have on the screen ahead of you. We have our standard AFS meetings in February, the Board of Directors meetings on the 27th. I'll just highlight in March, we have scheduled a study session on fleet replacement for the board on the 21st. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is approval of the January 3rd, 2024 TMC RMC meeting. Are presented for approval. Can I request a motion and a second to approve the January 3rd, 2024 TMC RMC meeting minutes?
I motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry. Acted a little too quick there. Sorry about that. Opposed? Not hearing any, it passes. Next is the fiscal year 2023 Public Transportation Authority and Valley Metro Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Mr. Hilliard, would you introduce this, please?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes. So as you know, all public entities have to complete a CAFR every year and a single audit package highlighting our internal controls over federal funds. And our CFO, Mr. Ken Kessler, would be delighted to touch on the findings and answer any questions you have for him. Mr. Kessler.
Thank you, Jim. We're good to go? Okay, thank you, Jim. Madam Chair, happy to answer any questions. This audit report for both the RPTA and Valley Metro Rail agencies is conducted each year. This year, we did have one very minor finding relating to, in the prior year, capitalizing some costs that should have been capitalized as work in progress. It was payments to the City of Phoenix for the fare collection project. And since Phoenix is the owner of that contract and the owner of that project, we should have capitalized those costs as work in progress. So that was corrected this year, and that's the one minor finding that was on the report for RPTA. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? I am not seeing any. This item is presented for information. No action is required. So thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, travel expenditures and solicitations. No action is required. Are there any questions though on this item? Moving right along. All right. Any reports on current events, future agenda items? I am not seeing any. So the next meeting of the TMC RMC is scheduled for Wednesday, March 6, 2024 at 11 a.m. Okay, moving on. I am convening the meeting and welcoming members to the February meeting of the Transit Management Committee. The consent agenda is presented for action. Requesting a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, items 1A through 1D. Do I have a motion and a second?
Move approval of the consent agenda. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Yep. Excuse me, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Phelps?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to. I'd like to have staff do a presentation on item number D, 1D, please.
Okay, so did we vote on everything and just a presentation then, so we don't need to go back for another vote?
We've already.
Well, I guess I'd like to have it re-voted on depending on how the presentation goes.
It's already been voted on. There's not a revote that could take place at this time.
Then pass on the presentation, that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next item, authorization to execute a cooperative purchase order with, I'm going to mispronounce this, Gillig LLC for compressed natural gas buses. Mr. Hilliard, would you introduce this?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Our Chief Maintenance Officer, Darren Curry, will speak to this issue and answer any questions that you have.
Madam Chair, so what we are proposing today is a piggyback for the next 2 years' purchase. The actual delivery dates would be December of 24 is targeted and around December of 25. We are also working on our own solicitation, but in order to get buses in a timely manner, we seeked out and found an opportunity to go off of the Washington contract. This allows to bring in 20 buses this year and then 20 buses the following year. Our target is to have our own solicitation out, board approved and awarded, so that our third delivery of buses would be on our very own contract.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? I am not seeing any. So I will request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the CEO to execute a contract with Gillig for the purchase of 20 40-foot CNG buses for 12 months with the option to extend one additional 12-month period for a total of 24 months in an amount not to exceed $34,720,000, which includes a 7.5% contingency of $2,420,000. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Not hearing any, it passes. So we are on to any current events or suggested future items from the group. I do not hear any. So then the next meeting was Wednesday, March 6th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Thank you very much. All yours.
Thank you. All right, so I will call the meeting to order of the Rail Management Committee for today, and we'll go straight to item 1, which is the minutes from the January 3rd, 2024 RMC meeting. Do I have a motion for the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I've moved to approve.
I'll second. Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 2, which is the Capital Light Rail Extension Design Contract Award. Mr. Hilliard, can you introduce this item, please?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Chief of Capital Development, Trevor Collins, is with us today. Be happy to answer any questions the board has.
So any questions by members of the committee for this item? I do have one question, Trevor. In the report that went out yesterday, there was information about the independent cost estimate that was done and the changes that happened along the way during the negotiations. Can you just walk through, really it's the most significant change that we saw from that got the ICE up, I think it was like a 33% increase in the independent cost estimate. Just walk us through what things caused changes that were that significant for them.
Sure. So we started really with an alignment out to 19th Avenue, which was shortened to 15th Avenue over the past several months, as you know. On paper, if you measure that, that's a 40% reduction. And the original ICE was really based on that straight 40% reduction in scope. As we advanced the negotiation, one of the big things that we looked at, and we always look at on design, is sheet counts. And we were able to see that even though the alignment was reduced by 40%, there are certain sheets that we just still have to do. We still have to do detail sheets. We still have to do standard specifications. So some of those economies of scale weren't in our favor there. There was still a lot of work. There's a lot of expertise that we rely on as well for permitting support, for Buy America that goes into these federal contracts. That requires that strong support. The real driver, though, is that initial assumption that we would see a 40% reduction. So through several meetings and over the course of 6 weeks, we were able to meet with the design team and hone up on a sheet count that we could agree to. Also, we carry allowances for that permitting support. Our independent cost estimates don't take into account those allowances. I will also note that those allowances are owner directed, so they're at our discretion. We may use them, we may not. Cost estimating, we certainly have our own cost estimating, but we do hold money for the designer to do cost estimating. And another important point on the way that we approach these contracts is they're not lump sum. It's not the figure that we arrive at as a negotiated fee. They are based on time and materials, and we do track that. So between those two, us adding some into our ICE after talking to them, and there were reductions on their side, we were, able to drop this down over $3 million to get to the number that we did. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you walking us through that. I feel comfortable with the price that was negotiated. So, is there a motion for this item to move forward?
This is
I
Chris
motion
Bray. Oh, I'll second the motion. It's Chris.
All right, we got a motion and a second record time there. Appreciate it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Item 3, report on current events or suggested future items. Anything from the committee? All right, that takes us to just our reminder that our next meeting is March 6th. Thanks, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.